Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my personal thoughts after testing out various note-taking apps on the iPhone, and I'll be showing you real examples of how I used each one. The apps I'll be discussing are Google Keep, Apple Notes, UpNote, SimpleNote, and Craft. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and recommendations in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing for more content like this. So first up is Google Keep. It's safe to say this one didn't win me over. Here's how I used it and my thoughts. Google Keep is available on both web and mobile. You have the option to choose between dark or light theme for a more personalised look. On the web and desktop version, you can easily change this in settings, whereas within the iOS app, it only changes with your system theme. And it doesn't seem to have a separate option within the Google Keep app. So to create a note, you just add a title and start writing. You can also create a list with just a tap. You can add reminders or collaborators for shared notes, and you can also add a range of colours and themes to make the notes more visually appealing. So the general layout is like a sticky note stuck to the page. It makes them easy to scan at first glance, but I personally don't like this. It feels quite messy and it doesn't feel that private. You do have two options for how your notes appear. So instead of folders, you use labels, which are effectively tags to group the notes. I also decided to colour code mine to help it feel a bit more like a folder system. You have various options to add handwritten notes, images and media into your notes, and you also have the ability to dictate your notes, and Google Keep will then transcribe them for you. Overall, I do think it's quite visually pleasing and simple to some extent. I enjoy the colour and the themes that you can add to there. What I didn't like was the lack of folders. There's also another good point: there's no subscription or payment option, which is always good. It's a decent app for quick notes and lists, but for me it just didn't have much structure for more detailed organisation. Next up is Craft, and if I had to describe it in a short sentence, it would be unique but complex. It was an interesting app, but I didn't use half of the features and found it quite overwhelming, but here's my experience. I enjoyed the visual customisation options. You really can spice up your notes with preset images through uploading your own media. I really enjoyed this, and I took that forward into my setup for Apple Notes. It was really fun just jazzing up and making my frequently used notes more appealing, like my finances page. It also allows you to export your notes in various formats, which could be useful for sharing or archiving, but I didn't use this too much. On the Mac app version, it had a really good feature called Focus Mode, which is really good if you're as easily distracted as I am. I found this really useful for when I really needed to focus on a particular document. And essentially it just removes all the other kind of distraction and just has a simple page that you're working on. It definitely does excel in letting you spice up your notes with custom images and presets designs, and it's a really nice layout. I definitely did up my note-taking game by using this app. It also provides a free trial, which gives people a chance to try the full features without committing, which really helped me figure out if it suited my needs. Overall, it's pretty packed with features. I found myself hardly using any of them, to be honest, which felt a little bit excessive for my simpler workflow. The paid subscription's also quite pricey for an app that I would barely use a lot of the features. It's priced at £10 a month or £100 yearly, which for me just wouldn't be worth it. So as much as I didn't go into all the features on this app, I just wanted to show you some of the basics of how it looked and help people understand whether it's maybe a system that they might want to look into. Up next, we've got UpNote, which was really a pleasant surprise. I found it had a really nice balance of functionality and simplicity, which suited me really well. I enjoyed the clean design. It felt quite user-friendly and not overwhelming. It's available as a mobile app and a Mac OS app, which I used both, which was really convenient. It synced seamlessly across both devices. It's pretty nicely organised with notebooks as folders, and you can also create nested ones for a more structured system if you need that. There's lots of customisation. You can name, you can colour code, and even lock notebooks for added privacy. Notes can be linked to each other for easy cross-references. You can export to PDF. They have a thing called Spaces, which is great for when you want to completely separate your notes if you want it that way. It could be really useful for helping with focus, but I didn't use this too much. One of the issues I had initially was the default font size was a little bit too big for me, but that was really easy to adjust in settings. And the premium version I think was really reasonable at £2 a month, and they also offer a lifetime option, which is a great option if you plan to stick with the app long term. It's definitely more of a budget friendly premium subscription. Also, when you first join, you get a pinned note with Welcome to UpNote, which shows lots of examples of possibilities within the app, which is a great touch for new users. I really found this one impressive with its clean design, straightforward functionality but still packing a lot of features. It's a solid choice which doesn't break the bank. And personally for me, if I hadn't gone back to Apple Notes, this would be the one I'd still be using. And next up is SimpleNote, which does exactly what it says on the tin. It keeps it simple. Whilst it's not the most visually striking, I feel that the simplicity is part of its charm. There are no folder systems, but similarly, like Google Keep, you tag the notes to keep everything organised. The layout is very clean and minimal, but quite basic. It still does boast a lot of features like tagging, note sharing, and there was also quite a useful little feature that shows your note history, where you have a swipe function that you can go up and down looking at the history of your notes and go back to it if you needed to, which I really did quite like. It is pretty limited, but it does do the basics. You can create a note with ease, you can add a tag and then edit them, and you can go back to those tags and it's back in that kind of tagged / folder. There is no options to add media, which was a bit of a downside for me. I really enjoyed having to preview as a condensed note list rather than a few lines. I found it just added a little bit more privacy, which I did prefer. And the best part is it's completely free. There's no premium version, no hidden costs. It's very simple, it's quite solid for note taking. I did enjoy the simplicity, but it was just lacking in some features like adding media and folders. And finally I settled back into Apple Notes, and in all honesty it works for me. Creating a note is really simple and intuitive, and since using some of the other Notes apps I've been able to spruce things up with emojis, colour and also folders. It seamlessly links with other apps such as Reminders and Calendar, which I frequently use so that I can share tasks straight into the apps. There's no extra subscription fees, which is always a win. One of the standout features that I really take advantage of is the shared notes and collaboration, which is great for collaborating with other iPhone users in real time. You have the option to switch view between gallery or classic lists. I do prefer lists, but it's nice to have the option to change this up sometimes. There are a few quirks that I would like to change. I'm not really keen on the yellow tint. It feels quite outdated and it just doesn't really please me visually. I prefer a sleeker design similar to Reminders or Calendar, and I really would love to have a proper colour coding system for folders, not just being able to highlight. That said, there's a lot of functionality while staying really simple, which is I think why I prefer this. You have the option to lock certain notes with Face ID, which can be helpful for bit of extra privacy with those more sensitive notes. There are also the option for smart folders and tags. They do add a lot of potential and probably could be really effective, but I've not really dabbled much with that yet. You can scan documents and that's a really useful feature, and then you can go back and actually search the scanned documents for certain words. And with the new iOS 18 update, the feature with the built-in calculator is really great to track finances for me without having to switch between the Notes and the calculator app. And there's voice recording powered with Apple Intelligence, and that is a game changer, and it's only going to get better. You can transcribe everything and it's pretty much accurate, and you can also even search if your notes are scattered all over the place, so that's really helpful. So once iOS 18.2 is released, ChatGPT will actually be integrated within Apple's ecosystem, which is only going to enhance the Apple Intelligence tools. Particularly in the writing tools within the notes, you can have ChatGPT directly in your notes helping you draft, reformat or refine something you've written, which is going to be really helpful. So here's my setup on the Notes app. I also enjoy the Quick Note feature within the control center. It makes it really easy to just add a note and organise it later. I find that really helpful because I do this in a similar way with other apps I use, such as Reminders. I tend to add a quick note or a quick reminder into a certain folder, and then at the end of the day I'll organise them all into their kind of relevant folders. So for me, this setup's quite a game changer in terms of staying organised and enhancing my productivity, which is something I've often struggled with. I've tailored my iOS tools into calendars, reminders and notes, and they all work seamlessly together, making it really easy to stay on top of those daily tasks and commitments of everyday life. I really do quite enjoy taking notes to try learn and grow, and this system encourages me to keep doing that. And if you would like to know more about my simple and effective setup to help manage day-to-day life with ease, check out my video sharing my setup with the Notes, Calendar and Reminders app. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated for more content.